guys are all able to hear me okay?
Yep. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, welcome Anna, welcome Greg, welcome Satoko. Wonderful. So today we're here to learn about the foundations of healing Qigong. This is a workshop hosted by my big brother, David Bruce Leonard, and I'm ever so grateful to be on his platform to share with our community. So thank you, David, for hosting me, and thank you all for joining us on this Saturday morning, or Sunday morning, rather. So we have a few things that we're going to talk about today. Before we get started, please receive a disclaimer. This content is in no way intended to diagnose, treat, or cure you. Okay, so please, before you try any of this stuff, make sure you're safe and straight with your primary care providers. This stuff is intended to be safe and fun, but I'm careful with the word heal or cure. So please receive this just as information and not as a diagnosis, not as a treatment. A few things that we're going to cover today. First and foremost, we're going to explore the view, the perspective on which we'll be addressing this work from. In our Taoist work, how we view something determines how we use something, and how we use something determines our results, and our results further reinforce the view. And so in that regard, it's important that we're all looking at the stuff in the same way so that we can use it safely and appropriately going forward. We're going to talk a little bit of some Taoist philosophy with that regard. We're going to look at nature as our teacher. And then we're going to explore what it means to learn from heaven, what it means to learn from earth, and how we can apply that to our own health and wellness. So before we get too far into it, I would like to check in with everyone. Please introduce yourself, who you are, what you're here to learn today. Don't all rush at once. We only have limited bandwidth, guys. Contain yourselves. Don't talk over each other, my goodness.
I am David Leonard, and I am here to cause trouble and avoid responsibility.
I like that one. Good, thank you, David. You're our host. I appreciate it.
So I'll jump in. I'm Jean McGregor, and I live in Puget Sound, the historic lands of the Squaxin Island people in Washington State. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. Washington State, so we're on the same Pacific Standard Time zone. How wonderful.
We're 2 hours ahead.
Oh, well, fancy you. Cool. Who else is here?
Hi, this is Anna Marcos. I am currently in Georgia. I've been studying traditional Chinese medicine since 2004-ish. And I'm here really just to have fun.
Good. Good. Also, just for my information, if any of you have had injuries or traumas or things that would impact the quality of your participation today, it would be good for you to share that too, if you don't mind being vulnerable. And then that way I can make sure I'm not pushing anybody too hard and I can tailor the material to your needs.
I'll just jump back in quickly. I'm fine. I have some historic SI joint troubles, but they're doing pretty well right now.
Cool. Good to know. Guys, the longer this takes, the longer it'll take for us to learn. So get to it. I'm a snappy teacher. Go.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. And I'm just interested in learning anything anything new, anything.
Okay, cool. Well, this is old stuff. This is ancient stuff. So this is not new at all.
Well,
Hate to
it's
break it to you.
new to me too.
Right on. Well, welcome. Okay, who else? Turn your cameras on, participate, if you don't mind getting picked on.
Good morning. My name is Laura. I live in California, San Leandro, and I am here to learn more healing Qigong. I want to have many, many, many ways to feel better, and to spread that to other people.
Cool.
Hi, it says Mitsimoto. My real name is Luminița Andronescu, and I'm in California, San Bernardino area. And I'm here to learn more about Qigong. I'm a true admirer. This is a healing, holistic healing method, and I believe in it. I'm also fascinated by Taoism and the beautiful, culture, philosophy, everything that's behind. And also I really like David's way of, Shifu's way of talking and teaching us. It's very engaging. It's very entertaining. And he just tells us a lot. He just throws pearls, wisdom in a very funny way. And I love it. Thank you so much.
Cool. I prefer the word spicy, but yeah, funny works.
Spicy
Works.
wisdom.
Thank you, Mitzi.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome.
Mhm.
Cool. And then I haven't heard from Greg. I haven't heard from Shomiko. Is that your name? I'm probably saying it wrong. Please pardon me.
Hi, I am Satoko from Japan. I learned Lomi Lomi from Kumudane,
Yeah.
Hawaii, and yes, and for Lomi Lomi, it's important to learn energy flow and energy work. And I'm interested in Qigong. So that's why I'm here today.
Great. Great. Well, I am so honored to have a student of Kumudane Silva. He is a beloved teacher of mine. I also am fortunate to have learned Lumi from him. So welcome, welcome. And all the way from Japan, no less. Really feeling international.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else? Otherwise, we should get to it. Greg, thank you for turning your camera on for a brief second.
I can introduce myself as well. My name is Eileen. I'm in Oakland, California, and I've been studying with David for about 3.5 years, and excited to continue learning and sharing with all of you today. Thank you.
Wow, has it been 3.5 years? Wow. Eileen is a disciple student of mine. She's been with me to China twice. Anything that you guys have questions about, she probably knows. She just might be a little shy about it. But Eileen is a storehouse of information and a leader in our community, and we honor her as a coach. So welcome, Eileen. Thank you for joining us today. Cool. All right. Dave, was Daniel J. Moore, is he coming on today? From Chicago, I believe.
Yeah, supposedly, but I haven't heard from him, and so I don't know. We can send him the recording if he doesn't get on.
Cool. Well, here we are, 15 minutes into it. Might as well start. Okay. The reason why I want to check in with everyone, it's quite important. I'm curious to know your motive. Many of us approach Qigong as a healing art. And it's worth mentioning that this is a Taoist tradition that comes from Wudang Mountain. Wudang Mountain is not a hospital. It's not a clinic. It's not a spa, it's not a retreat, it's not a place to heal, it's not a place to learn how to heal. Wudang is a place to cultivate Taoism and to celebrate Taoism. And that's the big picture of Wudang. It just so happens to be a martial art. It just so happens to be a healing art. It just so happens to be much more than a spiritual practice. But we go to Wudang to learn Tao. We don't go for medicine. We don't go for healing. So allow that to be part of the disclaimer. This is a spiritual art. What we're going to be doing is learning about Taoism and how it relates to our bodies. We're not necessarily learning about health and wellness. Health and wellness is just one of those side effects. You know, like when you watch the pharmaceutical commercials and it says, take this pill, side effects may occur. And then you get this long list of side effects. Well, it's similar, you know, learn Taoism, side effects may occur, health, self-defense, enlightenment, right? So it's kind of in that view. We're not here to learn about health per se. We're here to practice Tao, and then all the other things that we get as benefit, just side effect. If I could speak more to this idea, those of us that come for medicine, chances are you experience sickness in your body. Those of us that see Qigong as medicine are likely inherently sick. Then there's the people that want to nourish or optimize life. And this is a different view, but consider this view as similar in that you probably experience weakness or fatigue or some degree of lack, right? We still want to grow or build or fix or improve in some way. And so consider that these conversations of nourishment and medicine come from people that are sick and lacking. So again, I reiterate, Wudang is a place to celebrate. Now, it may seem like splitting hairs, but in the scope of open sea navigation, if I'm navigating the ocean by the stars, just being off one small degree is going to take me in a whole different direction 100 knots down the line. So we really want to be mindful of what it is that we're here to do. Because again, if you're here for medicine, if you're here because something's broken and needs to be fixed, I hate to break it to you, you will die and your body will continue to degenerate. And so if you're on a track of medicine, that's just an unending track of chasing sickness and disease. So consider that trajectory that you're putting yourself on if you explore this as medicine. Because you fix one thing, there's just going to be more and more and more to fix. Consider if you're doing the other view. Oh, this is life nourishment. This is optimization. This is cultivation. Well, consider that too comes from a space of inherent lack. I am weak, so I need to optimize. I need to build. I need to reinforce. You know, it still comes from a space of lack. So again, I invite you to take this as a view of Taoism, as a means to celebrate, right? To worship, to pray. And in that view, the more we celebrate, the more we will have to celebrate. The more we pray, the more we will have to pray for. And so, be it medicine, be it nourishment or celebration, they may seem like small nuances, but just be mindful of the approach you bring to this work, because it will determine the trajectory you go on. Is that clear to you guys? Does that make sense? Does that land? Let me get some head nods. I'm looking at all of you. Okay, good. Right on. So then, a few rules today. First rule, never work harder than 30%. Good thing that this is being recorded so you can recall this. Never work harder than 30%. Now, granted, this may get you in trouble in some aspects of your life, but imagine if you worked a whole workday and still had 70% of your energy at the end of your workday. Imagine if you had a work career and you still had 70% of your energy when you retired. right? So there's a value to only using 30% of your life force for this work. We don't want to push, we don't want to strain, right? My teacher said working hard is fine and there's a place for it. But some activities you work hard, then you're sore the next day. You increase your risk of injury, right? You may be only able to do it so much because it's so hard on the body. So with regards to this work, don't push yourself. Never work harder than 30%. In all this work, go slow, go small, go soft, go smooth. And in that way, it can be safe, right? Slow, small, soft, smooth will be safe. So keep that in mind. Never work harder than 30%. If you find yourself holding your breath, if you find yourself forcing or straining or pushing, you're working too hard. None of us should break a sweat. We're not here to burn calories, right? We're here to explore the body in a soft, gentle, safe way. So please keep that in mind as we progress into this curriculum. The next idea is enjoy yourself. Really big part of this work is to enjoy. My teacher says if you enjoy it, you'll probably do it again. And if you continue to do it, that's where you're going to get your results. But if you dread it, if you hate it, if this is a means to an end, it's like, well, I have to do this so I can do that. It may not be the right style for you. Okay, so this is something to enjoy and celebrate with. Okay. Last thing is there's nothing to remember. At the end of this, there's no quiz, there's no test, there's no exam. I'm not going to check on you later to make sure you remembered or not. If you remember or not, I really don't care. In that regard, just enjoy what you enjoy and do what you can. And in that way, everyone will take away what they feel is most valuable to them. From there, find me, keep coming back, and we'll hone in. Otherwise, there's nothing to remember. So I see some of you taking notes. That's cute. But really, I like to keep this light and conversational. Okay. Doing all right so far, guys? Any questions before we go forward? I love the enthusiasm. It's just like radiating off of my computer screen. This is this huge party. Thank you so much. Wow. Woo. Excellent. All right. So to make this Taoist, I'm going to quote Lao Tzu. Okay, Lao Tzu is the author of the Tao Te Ching. It's like the Taoist Bible. And he said, 人法地，地法天，天法道，道法自然. The way this translates, 人法地, humans follow earth. 地法天, earth follows heaven. 天法道, heaven follows the Tao. 道法自然. Tao is just natural. Tao does its own thing. So humans follow earth, earth follows heaven, heaven follows Tao, Tao just does whatever it wants. So the first thing to note on this is humans follow the earth. Notice it doesn't say humans follow other humans. And so when you guys come to learn something from me, please don't learn from me. I'm nothing special. I'm no authority in this matter. I'm just another human. We are all in the same mortal boat. So as to say, if you were to Google back pain, you'd get a million hits on what back pain is, how you get it, how to fix it. And no one view is definitive because every view comes from yet another human. And we're all in the same mortal boat. We will all be born, we will all grow old, we will all get sick, we will all die. And so if we really want wisdom, if we really want insight onto true health, true wellness, true longevity, true immortality, if you will, we shouldn't look to other humans. We should look to nature. We should look to our environment, because the earth was here before us. The earth will be here after us. And so if we really want wisdom and insight, we should look beyond the human scope, because humans were all going to die in the end. So true wisdom is going to be beyond us. And so Taoists, we didn't learn from each other. We learned from the sun, moon, and stars. Now, some of you may say, how do you learn from the sun, moon, and stars? They might be a little bit hard to access, or maybe we don't speak their language. And so my teacher would introduce a tree. A tree is a good coach. A tree is a good intermediary, because this tree too, if all things were perfect, the tree will live forever. Many of us have family trees. Many of us have trees at our parents' house that have grown for years. Those of us that have been to China, we've seen tea trees that are hundreds, 1,000 and 200 years old. One tree was that we saw. And so these trees, maybe we can learn from them if we're unable to access heaven, earth, sun, moon, and stars. Maybe that's a little too hard to learn from. So maybe we can learn from a tree instead. Now, if we were to observe a tree, what are some things that a healthy tree exhibits? Well, Mitzi even has a healthy tree in her background. Again, this is participatory, so I'd like to get some feedback from you guys. What are some things that a healthy tree exhibits?
Trees bend with the wind.
One more time, is that,
Trees
Dave?
are rooted. Trees bend with the wind. Trees are deeply rooted. Trees pull nourishment from the earth.
Green leaves. Healthy.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like that bend.
Yeah,
I like that deep roots. I like pulling nourishment from the earth. What are some other insights that we can get from a tree?
Trees are not solo beings. They are deeply interconnected underground to other trees.
Yeah, beautiful, right? Integrated through the mycelium and the root systems. Beautiful, good. I like that. What else?
Yeah, they survive because they rely on the strength of the small, the mycelium.
Cool, cool, cool. How about, what does a healthy tree look like? And what does a sick tree look like?
A healthy tree is flexible, like song, and a sick tree is brittle.
Right on. Okay. Anything else? What's a sick tree versus a healthy tree?
With the coloring of the leaves is different. If it's vibrant, it'd be green, bright. And then if it's not healthy, it would be like yellow, or the leaves will be dried out and turning brown and falling off.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? And so if a tree, and not just a tree in this instance, any plant, any flower, from broccoli to lettuce to kale, if the plant is sick, you'll notice it in the leaves. The leaves tend to wither, they tend to brown, they tend to spot, right? And it's typically at the tips of the leaves first. Very, very good, okay? What are some parts of the tree? I've heard people say roots, I've heard people say branches, I've heard about the leaves. Are there any other parts of a tree?
Stems.
Stems?
Flowers and seeds.
Flowers and seeds? Bark? Got it. So for the scope of this conversation, we're going to pay attention to 5 specific parts: roots, trunk, branch, stem, and leaf. Roots, trunk, branch, stem, and leaf. And so if my tree is sick and the leaves start to brown, do I put medicine on the leaves? No. Yeah, and Laura's shaking her head. No, we don't do that. nourish the roots. And by nourishing the roots, then we have a healthy trunk. From a healthy trunk, we have healthy branches. From healthy branches, we have healthy stems. And then from healthy stems, we grow healthy leaves. When your roots, trunk, branch, stems, and leaves are healthy, then we have beautiful, fragrant flowers, and we have big, juicy, sweet fruit, right? With plenty of seeds. So these are the aspects of a tree that we can translate to our own body. So in this conversation, we're going to relate our waist, our plexus, to roots, okay? And then from the roots, we can go out, waist, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger, root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. We can go down from the waist to the hips, to the knee, to the ankle, to the toe. Root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. We can even go up and out from the waist to the shoulders, to the neck, to the jaw, to the skull. Root, trunk, branch, stem, and leaf. Now, notice I'm speaking to my plexus as the roots. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts as to why. Why is my plexus the root? Why not my feet? Why not my reproductive organs? Why not my heart, my head? Why is my plexus considered the root?
Because of the diaphragm. Because of the diaphragm of breathing, you can control the breathing through the diaphragm. If you control the diaphragm, if you control the breathing, you control your body.
Great. Okay, that's a good one. All right, so right here in the plexus, we have the diaphragm. That's our breath. And if you're not breathing, you're dying, right? So good. That's a really, really good one, Mitzi. Anyone else think of why?
Digestion.
Digestion. Yeah, you have your stomach, spleen, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, right? Those are primary digestion and assimilation organs. So yeah, wonderful. We have air and we have digestion. What else?
Wait, well, it's like this, isn't it like the center area? Like all of your organs are around here. It's like the kind of like the center point of all your organs.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. The gross mass of your body, the core of your being, center of gravity-ish. Okay, I hear that. Give me one more reason. You guys are on fire today. Contain yourselves.
What about if the heart and the lungs kind of circulate through everything?
Okay. Here, I'm going to give you the answer.
Oh, I was going to say Ming Men.
Excuse me?
Ming Men.
Ming Men? Okay. Some of you guys hit parts of the answer, but I'm going to give you the whole answer. In Taoism, we have something called pre-heaven and post-heaven Qi. The parallel to that in the Abrahamic view would be Garden of Eden and banished from the Garden of Eden, right? The story is when we were babies in the womb, we call that pre-heaven Qi. That means all of our life force came from Mother God by way of our umbilical cord, right? This is pre-heaven. This is Garden of Eden. At some point, Mother God kicks us out of the garden and we're out in the real world to fend for ourselves. This is post-heaven Qi. Post-heaven life force now comes from 1, the air we breathe, 2, the water we drink, 3, the food we eat. Of course, there are other factors, but these 3 are primary in that order: air, water, food. So to bring that back to our solar plexus, as Mitzi mentioned, we have the diaphragm, so that's air. What people didn't mention was the kidneys. Kidneys are back here too, and that's our water. And then from there, we have the digestive and assimilative organs that David brought up. And so that's the food we eat. So air, water, and food are all processed and distributed from this space. In that light, we consider our plexus the roots. Does that make sense to you guys? Good. So then from nourished roots, we go out. Now, the next logical question is how to nourish and how to know you've been nourished. I left it awkward and silent so someone could jump in and say, this is how. No one picked up the cue.
Through circulation of those fluids and what you mentioned, the air, the water, and the food.
Good, good, good. Yeah. So we nourished those areas by improving the circulation of those areas. My teacher said, I don't care what your disease is. I don't care what your pathology is. I don't care what your doctor labeled or calls it. The root of your sickness is stagnation. Stagnation doesn't necessarily mean blocked completely. It could just mean slow or suboptimal, right? But consider if I have stagnation here in the center, on this side of the stagnation, I'm going to have deficiency, not enough. On this side of the stagnation, I'm going to have excess, too much. Just like if this was a river and I have a dam to block the river. Everything downstream is now dry. Everything upstream is now flooded, right? So stagnation in one point creates excess and deficiency on either side. Most common killer in America, heart disease, right? What's heart disease? Too much cholesterol, clogged artery. What's a clogged artery? Stagnation. What's another big killer in our community? Cancer is a big killer. What's cancer? There's oftentimes cancerous growths or abnormal growths. Well, what's an abnormal growth? A form of stagnation. Right? So no matter what your condition is called, even diabetes, right? Too much insulin, not enough insulin, right? That's another condition of stagnation, excess, and deficiency. So no matter what your condition is called, somewhere down the line, something got stuck. Now, what are the things that can get stuck, right? If you were to Google it, we're anywhere from 70 to 90% water, depending on what your resource is. But that's a lot of fluids. And so you have your blood, you have your lymph, but you also have synovial fluid, lactic acid, GRU, you have metabolic intake and waste, you have saliva, you have reproductive juices, you have cerebral spinal fluid, you have hormones and endocrine. All these fluids need to move. And if there's stagnation anywhere along the line, then poor health, dis-ease, pain, and eventually death result. Is this making sense to you guys? Right. So then if no matter what your condition, stagnation is the cause, then no matter what your condition, circulation is the cure. So that brings me to the next question. How do you know you have good circulation?
You feel warmth.
David, I like that one. Temperature, very, very good one.
You can also see it if you like press your finger and see how fast the blood how fast the color comes back.
Good, Laura. Yeah, you're my student. You know this stuff. Yeah, so a short way to put that is color, right? If I have color, then I have blood. If I have no color, if I'm pale, then no blood, right? So very, very good, Laura, color. We're going to speak more to what you were saying in a minute. So we have color, we have temperature. Give me one more qualifier.
Good range of motion.
Thank you, Eileen. I knew you knew it. Range of motion, very, very good. The quality of mobility. Consider that if I can move my outside, then everything is moving inside. A very common condition is frozen shoulder, right? Very common. But if I can't move my shoulder, that may suck to comb my hair or brush my teeth or get dressed. But if I can't move my shoulder, what does that say about my lymph? What does that say about my brachial artery? What does that say about my heart, my lung, my liver, right? All these other things inside aren't moving as well, right? So mobility is going to be a good indicator of the quality of your circulation. If your body is stiff, poor circulation. If your body is loose, light, and limber, good circulation.
And then there's energy. I don't really have the language for this, but when I feel like everything's moving, I have a quality of energy as opposed to being lacking energy or feeling kind of stuck. And it feels tingly and makes me happy.
Great. So then what's the difference between that and methamphetamines?
It's a different chemistry in your system, sure. But I bet it's stimulating some of the same happy hormones, right?
For sure. And I get buzzy and tingly and I have energy too, right? So quality of energy is a bit subjective, right? So that's the reason why I've omitted it. But I'm going to stick with these three qualifiers: range of motion, color, and temperature, okay? The reason why I want to stick to these three is because they are testable, verifiable, they are objective. We can apply the scientific method, right? Just like you can feel someone's head if they run a fever, you can test someone's range of motion, you can pinch fingertips and limbs to see if there's a circulation response, like Laura was speaking to, right? These are objective, testable, verifiable, tangible. So I'm going to stick with these three, okay? We have mobility, color, and temperature. The reason why these three are important is because you don't need a white lab coat to test. You don't need Kaiser, you don't need insurance, you don't need coverage, you don't have to set an appointment, you don't need a primary care physician. Each and every one of us can feel our body and test for temperature. Each and every one of us can pinch and palpate our fingers and check for color. Each and every one of us can move our joints and check for range of motion. In that regard, each and every one of us are empowered to test the quality of our circulation and take steps to improve the circulation. So that said, how do we improve the circulation? I'll just give you the answer.
Breathe and move.
Yeah,
Taking.
we have a protocol, 3-step protocol. Move, massage, meditate. Okay? So, with now all that out of the way, let's take a 2-minute break. I've been drinking tea this whole time, so I gotta go pee. Come back at 1:45. We're gonna get ready to move on with this work.
But it is one.
Oh, 1:47.
Back a couple of minutes.
let's get to it. For those of you that aren't back yet, that's fine. We're recording, so you can always refer to your notes in the recorded version. Okay, so we have 3 qualifiers. We have color, we have temperature, we have range of motion. Okay, so really quick, I would like you all to take a moment to be intimate with yourselves. We're going to feel and palpate around our bodies. First, you're going to take your hands, put them in your armpits. And you may notice that your armpits are quite warm. Notice that your armpits are insulated. You have a brachial artery here, so really good blood flow. Chances are your armpits are warm. However, if we were to go right next door to the tricep, you may notice that your tricep is cold. It's right next door, but there's a difference in temperature, meaning to say there's a difference in the quality of blood flow and circulation. And so if you were to take the time to go all over your body, you may notice cold patches, you may notice warm patches. Another common place is between the legs, right? You put your hands between your legs, you'll feel that your hands are warm because your crotch is insulated. You also have your femoral arteries, so there's plenty of blood flow, right? The inside of your thighs are often warm. But if you put your hands on your butt, right on your glute, right next door to your thighs, and yet you may feel that it's cold, right? So again, this speaks to a difference in temperature. Now, if you've ever had the privilege of carrying a newborn child, you'll notice that the newborn child is uniformly warm, uniformly pink. So as to say, blood is evenly distributed through the entire circulatory system of that brand new baby. At some point, however, each of us, we start to develop our habits, our own personal likes, our own personal aversions, and we start moving in specific ways relative to our body needs, right? In that regard, blood starts to go more to some places than others. There's a principle called the SAID principle, right? S-A-I-D, specific adaptation to imposed demand. So as to say, your body will acclimate and change relative to how you use it so that you can be more efficient in your function. The way that happens is blood goes to where you use it, blood doesn't go to where you don't use it, right? The joke we have in our community, a plumber will have a lot of good blood to their hands, but they won't have good blood to their butt crack, right? So where you use your body is where the blood goes. And in that regard, we all have our own thermal signature. So one way to test your circulation all by yourself is to simply touch and palpate and feel. And you might be quite surprised where you are warm and where you are cold. Clearly, where you're warm, good circulation. Clearly, where you're cold, poor circulation. Okay? That's your first insight. It's worthwhile to take your time to do this. It's worthwhile to jot down notes, right? And so you can keep track of how your body evolves along the course of this practice. So our first qualifier is temperature, and you know how to test it. And someone can test for you, quite frankly, right? Because Taoism is China's scientific method, right? This is all testable, verifiable, scalable, peer reviewable, repeatable, right? It is very scientific in that regard, very objective, if you will. So we have our temperature. Next will be color. Now, clearly you can just look at someone's face, right? Look at someone's cheeks. If they got those rosy cheeks, right? We can say, ah, good circulation, right? However, there are instances when someone is at excess, when the face is red, right? Or the hands get red, or different body parts get red, then too much blood. By the same token, right, maybe the face grows pale, maybe the hands grow pale, maybe the belly grows pale, right? Not enough blood. So again, that conversation of excess and deficiency, right? And any of us can maybe look at your hands. Very, very common to have spots, red and white. This again tells you where there's color, there's good blood flow. Where there's no color, there's poor blood flow. Right? It's very objective in that regard. The other test that Laura spoke to earlier, we can pinch the fingertips. If I hold it close to the camera, you can see that it'll be white for a very short second, and then color comes surging back. And you can go finger to finger. It works on your finger pad. It works on your fingernail. And I encourage you, go finger to finger, hand to hand, and also foot too, toe to toe. Clearly, it's going to go a little bit slower in your toes. But this too gives you an insight as to the quality of your blood flow and circulation. So if I pinch and the color comes right back, good circulation. If I pinch and it's a little sluggish, maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, maybe we need to do some work. If you pinch and it takes a long time, 5, 6 seconds, go see your primary care physician. You might have something going on. Now, I use this work in a clinical practice, right? I teach 6 days a week. I'm in clinic 1 day a week, right? And in clinic, we also use this work to test the quality of blood flow and circulation. One of my clients, poor thing, lymphoma, right? One side of her body, all the lymph nodes were swollen, right? Stagnation. And wouldn't you know, on the side with swollen lymph nodes, she also had really sluggish color on the fingers. So poor circulation is going to be an insight and an indicator for potentially bigger issues. Right? So my teacher would say all conditions stem from a root of poor circulation. Okay? So this is the way you can test finger by finger. Now I want to check in with my community. Everybody check their fingers. Did anybody find some fingers faster or slower than others?
This one's slower.
Mine are all pretty fast.
Laura, you got some that are slower than others?
But it's all connected to this other thing going on.
I bet.
Right where it is like slow, it's where it hurts or it's numb. So it makes sense.
Right on. Yeah, thank you for that insight, that testimonial, if you will. Right. Hallelujah. Okay. So for a little deeper insight, we could then say, oh, if my thumb is sluggish, this relates to this tendofascial line here that connects up through to my chest. Or we'd say my lung meridian. If it's my pinky line, maybe it's around the outside, around my scapula, up through my scalenes, right? Or my small intestine meridian, right? And so where I feel any pain or discomfort up the line, it may relate down the line, just like Laura's talking about. Right? So thank you for that insight, Laura. So we have color, we have temperature, right? The other places you can pinch, yes, your fingers, yes, your toes, but you can also do your lips by pursing your lips together. See the color leave and come back? And you can also do your ears, right? The color will leave and come back. And this speaks to the quality of blood flow to your primary sense organs and to your brain. Might be insightful. Okay, so far, this is all stuff that you can check yourself. And ultimately, that's the goal of my view, is to empower each and every one of you to take your health and wellness into your own hands. You now have a way to test your circulation. And now that you have this insight as to the quality of your circulation, we now have tools to improve the circulation. Okay, so our protocol is very simple. Move, massage, meditate. Before we get into it, I'll give you the insight. We're going to be moving our body joint by joint. Earlier, we spoke to the different joints that relate to that view of the tree: root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. Root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. Root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. Okay, so we're going to be moving all of our joints, because if I can move outside, then I'm also moving everything inside. And after all, that's our qualifier, range of motion, right? After we move it, we'll take a moment to massage it. So guess what, guys? We're going to be massaging ourselves today. There's two types of massage: a yin and a yang, a hard and a soft. The first massage is a polish. We're going to rub, 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 generate friction. We're going to be polishing until things get warm. Yeah, you rub enough, you'll generate friction, it will get hot. And that's the temperature qualifier. After that soft polish, we'll do a hard pat. Guess what? You pat long enough, you're going to stimulate the area, it's going to get color, it's going to get red. And that's the color qualifier. And so with these techniques, you move it, that's your mobility. You polish it, that's your temperature. You pat it, that's your color. So we've moved and we've massaged. The last step of the protocol is meditate. Move, massage, meditate. You guys like M&Ms? We'll throw in an extra. M&M. Move, massage, meditate. After I've moved it, after I've polished and patted for the massage, chances are there's a residual stimulus, right? Maybe a buzz, maybe a tingle, maybe it feels warm, maybe it feels light, right? Nothing mystical, nothing woo-woo or fairy, but you're likely going to have a residual tactile stimulus after the work. Much like if I stub my toe, it's done in an instant, but I'll feel the pain for quite some time, right? So I can move and massage and I'll be done, but I might still have a residual stimulus. And so the meditation aspect will just be to enjoy, feel, and appreciate that work. So I've talked at you for a whole hour. You guys are probably sick of me by now. We can stop and we can start to do the movement, okay? So please make room for yourselves. This is a standing curriculum. Feel free to sit, feel free to lie down, however you like. But I will be standing for this content. Now, we start this work from the roots. And from the roots, we work our way down. So as to say, we're going to work with earth first. Everything below the waist relates to the earth below. We start with our hands on our midsection. Just to make sure we're all in the same place, one hand goes on your navel, one hand goes on your heart, and then we split the difference right in the middle. From here, we wrap around to the sides, and we'll have our hands along our rib cage. If I were to use my little Halloween buddy here, we're specifically working with the thoracic region of the spine, right where your floating ribs are, right? So this is our waist. In Chinese, we would call this Yao, Y-A-O, right? This is the midsection of our torso. So with your hands here, right, they're quite high up, just under your armpit. You should be able to feel your ribs on either side. What we're going to do is bend from side to side. Take your time, go slow, find a rhythm with your breath, and rock from side to side. Consider that as I bend from side to side, I'm moving my waist, I'm moving my ribs, and I'm moving everything inside my ribs, namely my diaphragm, my kidneys, my liver, gallbladder, stomach, spleen, and pancreas. All those primary organs are getting squeezed and stretched as I rock from side to side. After this side to side range, I can also go front and back. It's kind of an awkward range, but I specifically want to work with my thoracic vertebrae. So I push a little forward and I round a little back. Right? So rocking from side to side, rocking front and back. It's just general thoracic spinal mobility. After rocking, then we roll. We take those 4 cardinal directions and we put them together into a circle. Now, if any of this is challenging, if any of this is difficult, if there's any type of pain or pinch, again, remember to go slower, go smaller, go softer, go smoother, right? Slow, soft, small, smooth. In that regard, this will all be safe. 3 to 5 times, circle one way, and then 3 to 5 times, circle back. Greg and Ashley, don't know if you guys are doing it, you turn your cameras off, but if you turn them on, I can see what you're doing. Okay, after we've moved our waist, left, right, front, back, round and round. After movement, we can take a moment to massage it. If you recall, there's 2 massages, a soft and a hard. The soft is a polish. So polish, polish, polish. I'm starting on my right side, home of my liver and gallbladder. I'm going now over to my left side, home of my stomach and spleen. And then I'll even try and get my backside to the best of my ability, home of my kidneys. The goal here is to get this midsection warm from friction. So rub, rub, rub until you literally feel the heat build in your hands. If your liver works a little harder, maybe a little tired from Friday, Saturday night, spend some more time on your liver. If your stomach or spleen work a little harder, maybe you just had a lunch, maybe you have some indigestion, you can spend some time there. If your kidneys need the love, right? Maybe you have a stone, maybe you have a urinary tract issue, then you want to spend extra time there. Whatever you have experienced in your life, spend some extra time relative to where you may need the work. Good. After that heat builds, we then pat it out. Pat, pat, pat here on the right side. A little bit above, a little bit below. Pat here on your other side. A little bit above, a little bit below. And it might be hard, but if you use your hands like ice cream cones, you put ice cream all over your back, you can pat up here by your kidneys. Good. Pat to the best of your ability. When you're done, take a moment to be still. Observe what your hands feel like. Observe the fatigue in your arms and shoulders. And take note any warmth or residual sensation you might feel in your midsection. In this way, we nourish our roots. Go ahead and shake your body out. Light bounce on your heels, stay loose and light. Good. So from the waist, we move down to the hips. The idea is Kung Fu starts in the feet first. We work from the waist down to the feet. The idea is that 3/5 of your body's blood is below the waist. Sure, you have a lot of blood in your heart, you have a lot of blood in your lungs, you have a lot of blood in your brain, but you have a lot more blood in your kidneys, liver, intestines, center valve, and femoral arteries. You have more blood below the waist than you do above the waist. And so all this movement starts from the waist down because we want to help facilitate healthy circulation down below the waist. Okay? So from waist to hips, roots to trunk. Step out nice and wide, a little bit wider than your shoulders. Then we have a side to side range. Again, we're just exploring basic ranges of motion. It's not specific to any style. It's not specific to any family system. This is available to all humans, right? We can go left and right with our hips. We also have a front and back with our hips. Very, very easy to access. As you move left and right, front and back, sure, there's movement in your hips, but take the time to go slow and feel that there's also an experience in your feet. Feel that you'll have to push off one foot to stretch in the other hip. And you'll push off another foot to stretch in your other hip. Even when I go front and back, when I go forward, I'll feel the weight in my toes. When I go back, I'll feel the weight in my heels. I invite you to consider that your hips and your feet have a relationship. We're going to call upon this relationship several points throughout our afternoon. But for now, notice that any movement up here is going to translate to an experience down there. Now, after we've done our front, back, our side to side, those are our 4 cardinal directions, we can now circle round and round. I want to push so much that I can feel a quality of engagement all the way around through the full range of motion. Not only do I want to feel the circle here in my hips, but I want to feel the circle down in my feet too. I feel it on the ridge, I feel it forward in the toes, I feel it in the other ridge, I feel it back in the heels. So make sure you have 2 quality circles, a quality circle above and a quality circle down below. Again, 3 to 5 circles is all you need. So we go one way and then we reverse back the way we came.
So brief question, talk about what your knees are doing. It's just sort of softly bent.
Aren't they beautiful?
Oh, yes, they're gorgeous.
If you interrupt me while I teach, I'm going to make silly things like this. Save questions for after, but since you already interrupted, keep your knees soft. Okay. So, side to side, front and back, round and round, right? Focusing on our hips. Should you do this from your knees? Same thing. Should you do this seated or in a swimming pool? Same thing, right? So relative to your knees, I really don't care. We're focusing on our hips. So keep your knees comfortable. None of this should hurt your knees. So I'm spending too much time on this. Let's continue on. Okay. So we have left and right. We have front and back. We have round and round. But consider that these are both hips working at the same time. What if we want to do one hip at a time? Okay. So to do one hip at a time, take a natural step forward and load your front foot. So all my weight is on the front leg. This time I will note, lock your knee. Okay? Now all my weight is on my front hip. My back leg is just there for balance. I now want to take both hands and place them on my front hip. From here, where my hands are on the front, I want to circle my one hip on my one long leg with a locked knee. I want to focus my movement right here at my hip. My other hip moves too, that's okay, but really focus here on the front. And if it's not too hard for you guys, please put yourself into your cameras in a way that I can see you so I can make sure you guys are all doing it right. Right? So I'm circling from my hip. If I turn sideways, you can see my front leg is locked. All my weight on the front, both hands on my hip, and I circle my front hip. Good. Circle one way. And reverse, circle back. Now, as I feel this circle here under my hand and my hip, also pay attention to a circle down below in your feet. Right? Circle one way, circle back. This is the same leg, but maybe one direction is easier than the other. Right? So pay attention to that. When we're all done, after movement, we massage. So polish in front. Polish until it is warm. You can polish a little bit above. You can polish a little bit below. Polish along the side. You can polish a little bit above. You can polish a little bit below. Polish along the back. You can polish a little bit above. You can polish a little bit below. Polish all around so that this one hip is literally warm. And not just warm to my personal subjective feeling. Literally get it hot with the friction to where someone else could peer review. They can test if you have a hip fever. Okay? So polish, polish, polish till it's hot, and then pat, 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 pat. Pat the front, a little bit above, a little bit below. Pat the side, a little bit above, a little bit below. Pat the back, a little bit above, a little bit below. Pat any place you may have missed. And rest. This is now the meditation aspect. Move, massage, meditate. To meditate, take notice what your hands feel like. Take notice any fatigue in your shoulders. Take notice any sensation in your hip. Compare the sensation of one hip to your other hip. Note if there's a difference for you. We're missing Eileen. Where did Eileen go?
She had to take off. She's coming back.
Okay. Anybody feel the difference between one hip or another? Show of hand. Good. Okay. So now we're going to
Absolutely.
make them match. Excuse me, David? Excuse me, David, you were saying?
I said absolutely.
Oh, okay, good. So
Absolutely.
we're looking for these differences in sensation. After movement, after polishing, after patting, we're likely to feel a difference in the quality of sensation. Maybe warm, maybe light, maybe heavy, maybe buzz, maybe tingle. We're all going to feel it a little bit differently. However, you should notice an experience in one hip relative to the other hip that has yet to be moved and massaged. So now we'll take the time to make a match. Natural step forward. Load the front leg. Lock the front knee. Both hands on the front hip. And circle. 3 to 5 times is enough. Circle one way. And 3 to 5 times back. Circle back the way you came. Good. Satoko, I can't really see you very well, but it looks good. Jean, you stopped, keep going. Jennifer, not bad. Try to put more weight on your front leg, less weight on your back leg. Lock your front knee. Mitzi, I can only see your hip. I can't really see your legs, but it looks fine. Laura looks good. I believe you've done this movement with me before, so not bad. Anna, that looks fine. Ashley, not bad. Greg, you have your camera off, probably a safe choice. There you go, Jean. Yeah, that looks good, Jean. Thank you for turning sideways so I could really see. Laura, go ahead and make that movement a little bit smaller. Yeah, nothing to prove because we got big circles. Yeah, make it small, make it smooth, make it soft, and then it'll be safe. Okay? Good, good, good. All right, all of you look good. So from here, after we move it, we massage it. So polish the front. We want to polish the hip in front, a little bit above, a little bit below. We're going to polish the side, a little bit above, a little bit below. We're going to polish the back, polish a little bit above, polish a little bit below. The goal is to get this whole region warm with friction. Good. When you feel the heat build in your palm, now we disperse the heat with a pat hitting in the front, a little bit above, a little bit below. Pat, 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 pat. Pat along the side, a little bit above, a little bit below. And pat behind, a little bit above, a little bit below. Pat all the way around. Any place you feel you may have missed. And when you're done, take some time once again to be absolutely still. Anybody have special sensation in their hands? Anybody have fatigue in their shoulders? Anybody have special sensation in their hips? Right, these are all common sensations. Okay. Really, the meditation aspect, we meditate long enough to let all these sensations settle back to neutral. Very, very good. Movement is for health, stillness is for spirit. Go ahead and shake. Go ahead and bounce. Okay. So we've done our waist. We've done our hips, right? We did both hips together. We did one hip at a time. That's our roots. That's our trunk. From here, we move down to the branches. Roots, trunk, branch. Waist, hip, knee. For our knees, how many of us, show of hands, have knee pain? Very, very common. Okay. So before we start on knees, there's a saying in our tradition, "shigai gen tofu iyang." Your knees are soft like tofu. The knees are referred to as the weakest joint in the body, most commonly injured. Okay? And so for the knees, be very mindful. We don't want to push too hard, right? And again, none of this should hurt. If anything is challenging or difficult, remember, slower, smaller, softer, smoother, okay? And that'll be safe. Okay, so with the knees, first thing we want to do is pump. And this is a pump done in a soft range of motion. I don't want to lock all the way. I don't want to bend all the way. I just want to pump softly. If I were to demonstrate with my finger, I'm not locking all the way. I'm not bending all the way, but I'm kind of pumping in this soft range. Okay, so same thing. I keep a soft knee and I gently pump. Consider that as I pump my knees, I'm pumping the musculature of my thighs and my glutes. These are the largest muscle groups of my body. And so as I pump these muscles, I literally pump blood pump lymph, pump lactic acid, pump brew. I pump all the fluids of my legs. Beyond that, as I pump my thighs, as I pump my glutes, I also pump all the fluids of my reproductive organs and my elimination organs, right? Namely my genitals, my colon, my bladder. All of these things get pumped as I pump my thighs, right? So gently pump ever so slightly up and down, little loop, okay? In addition to this pump, we're gonna add a circle. And the circle comes from lightly turning my body, right? I want to keep my hands on my thighs. That way I can feel the work of my legs. I'm going to gently turn my body left and right to pump my knees. 3 to 5 times is all you need. Circle one way, and then reverse. Circle back the way you came. Not bad. My next variation for the knees is going to be inside and out. Good. If you can see my feet, do notice that my feet stay flat. If you find that your feet are coming off of the floor, you're going too big, right? We're going to keep this movement small and modest relative to our frame. So circling out and then circling in. Very well done. Good. Consider this is both knees together. What if we want to do one knee at a time? From here, take a natural step forward. Right? Notice my back stays straight, my head stays high, and I lightly touch on my thigh. From here, I just make a small circle with my one knee. While you're on your one leg, it's important to notice the quality of your balance, quality of your movement, right? It's common to have pain in one leg or another. It's common to have better balance in one leg or another. So as you move the one knee, take the time to explore what's available. Again, if there's any type of pain, any type of discomfort, what do we say? Slower, smaller, softer, smoother. Okay, circle one way and reverse. Pay attention because one direction might be easier than the other. After we move the knee, we massage the knee. So I'm going to polish, polish, polish here in the front. Maybe a little bit above on my thigh, maybe a little bit below on my shin. I'm going to polish, polish, polish in the back. Maybe a little bit above on the hamstring, maybe a little bit below on the calf. I'm going to polish, polish, polish on the sides, right? Inside and outside. Maybe a little bit above on my thigh, maybe a little bit below on my shin and my calf. I want to get all of my knee all around, above and below, warm with friction, right? And relative to the quality of your blood flow, it might take longer to get it warm, right? So really put in some effort. It's as if you want to start a fire on your knee. So really get that friction up. There you go. Good. After you feel the heat build, then we pat. Pat the front. Pat the top. Pat the bottom. Pat the outside. Pat the underside. Pat all around your knee. And for extra credit, kiss it. Yeah, good, good, good. A little bit of tongue is okay. It's your own knee. Okay, when you're all done, take a moment to stand. Observe your breath rate. Observe your heart rate. Observe your temperature, your texture. Feel your hands, feel your knee, and observe the sensations left over in your body after all that work. Good. Anyone notice a difference between one knee and the other? Very common, so make a match. Natural step forward. Body stays upright. Both hands lightly touch the thigh. And then small circle of that front knee. Do make sure that the foot stays flat. Circle about 3 to 5 times one way, circle 3 to 5 times back the way you came. This is my chance to look at you guys. Jean, looking really good. I love how slow and mindful you're going. Satoko looks good. Jennifer looks good. Jennifer, I can't see it, but make sure your feet stay flat on the floor. You may not be wobbling, but your movement looks quite big. So I just want to remind you to keep your feet flat as you do it. Mitzi, looking good. Anna, I can't really see what you're doing, but I trust that it's working out for you. Ashley, I love how you're keeping your eye on your knee. Very focused, good work. Laura, looking good too. Greg, camera still off, probably a good choice, and I can't make fun of you. Okay, even Dave, looking good too. Everyone looking good. Wonderful. After you move your knee, take a moment to massage your knee. Polish the front. Polish the back. Hey, Eileen's back.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay. Polish at the knee, above the knee, below the knee. Polish the front, polish the back, polish the inside and outside. Good. Wonderful. Pat, 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 pat. Good. Polishing till it's warm, patting until it's red. Good, Jennifer. Pat harder. Harder, harder, harder still, Jennifer. Good. Make some, yeah. So Jennifer, see how you're like this, really, really close? Make it big. Pa, 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 pa. There you go. Don't be scared. Good. Ashley, working hard. Satoko, working hard. Anna already stopped. That's fine. Eileen's still going. I'm a Kung Fu guy, so my fierceness comes out when I teach. You guys are probably getting the feeling for that already. Good. When you're done, take a moment to stand and observe the quality of sensation left over. Okay. We are now halfway through the class. We're scheduled for 3 hours. We are now an hour and a half in. I want to take this time to check in with everybody. We've done our waist, side to side, front and back, round and round. We've moved it, we polished it, we patted it. We've done our hips, side to side, front and back, round and round. We did both hips together, and we did one hip at a time. For the knees, we pumped them, we circled them, we did both knees together, we did one knee at a time. We've moved them and we massaged them. At this point, I want to make this interactive again, so take yourselves off mute. What do you guys feel? Now, I want to specifically hear sound effects. I don't want to hear words. Make a sound effect. What type of feeling is coming up for you? He's thinking. Very common feeling. Very common feeling. Whoa, 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 whoa. Very common feeling. Whoosh, whoosh. So I just gave you 3 examples. Anybody feeling that stuff?
Yeah, the second one. The wah, 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 wah.
What is it, Anna? What is it?
It was the wah, 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 that one.
Very good, very good. What else are you guys feeling? Okay, Jean feels it. Good, good, good. What else are we feeling?
I'm feeling a humming.
Humming?
Yeah.
What's the sound effect for that?
Like tea. Mm.
Yeah, thank you. That's the sound effect I wanted. Okay, give me one more sound effect. Good. You know, you get bumblebees. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, thank you for your participation. Okay, so notice that everyone feels it a little bit different. There's a reason why I'm taking the time to point this out. Okay, some of us feel the pulses and throbs, some of us feel hums, some of us feel bees, some of us feel pin needles. We're all going to feel this differently. And that's very important to note, right? Because relative to how you're wired, how you're working, relative to your temperature, your environment, you're going to have a different sensation after doing this work. And it's important to note what you feel, because as you gain fluency, as you get stronger, as you transform, these feelings change. Okay. Now, we all felt different things, but it's safe to say we're all feeling something. Now, oftentimes in this conversation, people get woo-woo, people get ethereal or mystical. I encourage you to keep these sensations grounded and keep these tangible. Okay, we're looking for real, tactile, sensory nervous system stimulus here. Okay, and consider that what you're feeling is circulation. What you're feeling is blood moving, good circulation, good health. And in that way, consider that these feelings are always present. In the same way that if you work in an office and you turn on the lights and you turn on the computers and you turn on the printer and you turn on the fax, there's a hum, there's an electrical mechanical hum to your lights, to your computer. Then as you go through the day, you may not notice those hums. You might get caught up in your work. And it's not until you turn off the lights, turn off the computer, turn off all the electronics, that you notice that it gets eerily quiet in the office. I say that to say this: these buzzes, these tingles that you feel on your body, consider they're always there, because your blood is always moving. Your cells are always dying and regenerating, right? So that buzz is always there as long as your lights are on. But just like a person working in the office, maybe we're so caught up in our work, on our task, that we don't notice the hum of our electronics around us. Same thing for your body. You're so caught up in your life, maybe you don't feel these buzzes and tingles. It's only until we take the time to work and cultivate and meditate that we're present to these subtle sensations that are always there. Now, even if you feel nothing, that's fine. Again, please don't make believe. It's nothing mystical or fairy here. But if you feel nothing, at the very least, feel air on your skin, feel clothes on your back, feel elastic around your waist, have a real physical feeling. And this is important to consider, because most of us will never feel our bodies until it hurts. Consider most of you will never feel your tooth until you have a toothache. Most of you will never feel your head until you have a headache. Many of us do not notice our body until there's pain. So at the very least, even if you feel nothing special or fancy, at least take the time to feel and appreciate your body along your waist, along your hips, along your knees, right? Don't wait till there's pain to pay attention. Okay, so we've done our waist, we've done our hips, we've done our knees, our roots, our trunk, our branches. We've nourished and watered them, if you will, with movement, massage, and meditation. We now want to continue further to the ankles and the toes, right? Root, trunk, branch, stem, and leaf. adjust my camera angle so you can see my tootsies. Okay, so for feet. For ankles, I have inside, outside, invert, evert, and I have front and back. Okay, I'm gonna do one foot at a time. I'm gonna lightly roll my foot out into the side. I'm gonna lightly pull my big toe in. So I'm gonna invert and evert, rocking the inside and outside of my ankle. I'm gonna roll to the outside and maybe put a little weight on it. By rolling on the outside, I'm working my gallbladder meridian that goes all the way up to my piriformis and glute med. So those of you that have sciatic nerve pain, you're gonna really benefit from rolling through to the outside. I can also maybe step a little wide and pull, right? Pull in, and this will roll up onto my big toe, up onto my arch. Those of you that have edema, gout, varicose veins, deep vein thrombosis, and the like, it's going to be a wonderful expression for you because this line goes all the way up into your femoral artery and your adductor. So for those of you that have poor circulation through your limbs, this is a good one to do. Okay, so you have your inside and your outside. From here, I'll turn sideways so you can see the top side. I want to get on top of my foot, on top of my toes, and gently stretch by putting weight. I'm going to feel this into the front of my ankle, maybe into my shin. And ultimately, if I go back, right, if I go back a little bit, I might even be able to feel this go all the way up into my psoas. This relates to the stomach meridian. Okay? From here, with my foot still back, I can drop my heel, and that'll give me a stretch through my Achilles and my calf, and that relates to my hamstring. Okay? Good work. So I have inside, I have outside, I have top side, and I have back side. From here, after those 4 cardinal directions are set, I can explore round and round. Consider that both ankles are working. One ankle is practicing mobility. The other ankle is practicing stability. Yin and yang. So circling all the way around one way and then reverse, circle back. Now again, I had you consider the relationship between your hip and your feet. If you have both hands on your hip, it's a clear experience that your movement down below translates to a movement up here. So again, notice and honor the relationship between your hip and your foot. Okay? After having done one side, we can shift the weight and do the other side. First, we go in and out, invert and evert. Outside is gallbladder line. Inside is your liver, spleen, and kidney line. On the top of your foot, that's your stomach meridian. On the back of your foot, that's your urinary bladder meridian. Okay. Good. After getting all 4 directions, we can then circle. Again, if you have a hand on your hip, you can feel the work in your ankle relative to the work in your hip. Circle one way and reverse. In the conversation of good circulation, 3 to 5 repetitions is enough to move the blood. 3 to 5,000 repetitions is enough to build the habit. 3 to 500,000 repetitions is enough to transform your body. Okay? Wonderful. So we've done both feet, inside, outside, front, back, round, and round. After we move it, we massage it. For the massage, please be careful. one leg forward. I'm going to take both my hands and I'm going to ease down. And I'm going to polish my feet. If this is too hard for you, you also have the option of sitting in a chair, crossing your leg and polishing this. Okay. If you're able to fold over, you get the added benefit of a hamstring stretch. If you're unable to reach, no need to force it. Right? You can sit on a chair, you can sit on the floor, you can sit on your bed. We just want to polish our ankles and our feet in the same way that we polish every part of the body. Good. Polish it, pat it, one side at a time. Get both of your ankles warm, 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 and red. Yeah, Ashley. Took a seat so you can do some good work. I love it. Yeah, Satoko. Very flexible. Good. Jennifer, very flexible. Good. Laura, very flexible. Good. Excellent work. You guys look great. Warm up those ankles. Okay. Good work. When you're all done, take a moment to be still. After movement is massage. After massage is meditation. Now, for meditation, we've already done several instances of it. No one has to light incense or light a candle or sit in some fancy posture. Meditation doesn't have to be too involved in that regard. For this work, meditation is simply feeling what you've done. After you move your ankle, after you polish and pat your ankle, chances are you have some stimulus on your ankle. So you want to take a moment to be still and feel the stimulus, feel that buzz, feel that tingle, feel the benefit of your work. Chances are if you observe long enough, those tingles, those buzzes, those sensations will dissolve to the duration of your meditation. Those sensations settle. Right? So you move all directions, you polish it, you pat it for your massage, and then you meditate. And you simply observe the work and give it long enough to settle. Okay. Roots, trunk, branches, stems, and leaves. We are now at the toes. This is going to be especially good for people that have gout, edema, diabetes, right? All of those conditions relate to poor circulations to your feet. This is great for people with deep vein thrombosis, varicose veins, plantar fasciitis, neuropathy, right? Lots of conditions can be addressed simply by wiggling your toes. So for the toes, I don't know if you can see them too well, but we're going to open and close our toes. Okay? If you can do both at the same time, great. Opening and closing your toes is going to be great for people that have flat feet. This is a great way to build and nourish your arch by doing curls with your toes. Okay? After your toes have been opened and closed, now we want to try to fan the toes. So little toe, one by one to big toe. See how well is your fine motor articulation. Good. And if you can do little to big, try big to little. Big toe first, and then one by one to your little toe. Good. Which one's easy? Which one's hard?
Big to little is hard.
Yeah,
Same.
big toe first is hard. Yeah. Please don't cramp. How you doing, Jennifer? I can't see your feet. Good. I assume you answered. You're muted. Good. All right. Wonderful work, guys. After we move our toes, we can massage our toes, right? Polish and pat, right? Really, really easy. You can kind of go this little piggy, that game of this little piggy, go joint by joint, go digit by digit, right? So that you don't have to look at my feet again, right? You can polish each digit and work your way through each toe, right? I'm doing my fingers, but you can do this on your toes. Wonderful. My teacher would say, don't wait to stub your toe to love your toe. Kind of cute. Good, good, good. For those of you that took notes on how fast the blood returns to your toes, chances are, if you were to do that test again, that blood returns just a little bit faster. If any of you did the work on that. This is how you test the material to see if it's actually working for you, right? You would test your temperature, you would test your color before, you would then do your work of moving, massaging, meditating, and then you would test again. You would test your temperature again, test your color again. And ideally, you notice a bit of improvement. Because otherwise it's just a subjective thing. I feel like it's working, or maybe you don't like my personality as a teacher. I don't want it to work, right? And so you really need to give yourself some empirical evidence, right? Testing before, do the work, and then test after. And then you get to know if the work is valid for you or not. Okay, so not quite done. We've taken the time to explore our tree part by part, root to trunk to branch to stem to leaf. However, the tree is whole and integrated. It's not segmented part by part. So now that we've isolated each bit, now we want to integrate all the bits. Okay, so this range of motion is a little bit challenging. I'm going to adjust my camera one more time for you. Okay, so for this range of motion, it's a movement called churn the butter. I'm going to extend one leg. It does take a bit of balance, so if you have to hold on to something, that's fine. But I'm going to take one leg and I'm going to go in and out. Consider that this movement comes from my hip. I'm going to start by turning my foot in. I'm going to lift my knee up. I'm going to turn my leg out. I'm going to drop my heel down. In, up, out, down. In, up, out, down. Turning in comes from my hip. Pulling up comes from my waist. Turning out involves my entire girdle, and then dropping down through to my heel, right? I'm using all of my leg as one unit. After I've done 3 to 5, I can reverse it. Out, up, in, down. One direction might be easier or harder than the other. Yeah, good job, guys. This is not an easy movement. Jean, looking really good. Excellent work. Not bad, Laura. Good movement, okay? So before we do the other side, take the time to feel. Sometimes people will feel it in the leg that was working. Sometimes people will feel it in the leg that was standing. So before you do your other side, take the time to notice where you feel it. How many of you feel it in the leg that's moving? How many of you feel it in the leg that was standing? How many feel it in both legs and it all sucks? Okay, so we've done one side. Now let's do the other. Okay, in, up, out, down. Again, 3 to 5 times is all you need. We can also try out, up, in, down. Good. Take a moment to stand. Notice if the work is different. In the same way that you can be right or left-handed, you can also be right or left-legged. You can also be right or left-eyed, right or left-eared, but that's another story. However, that said, the feelings might be different from one leg to another. So take the time to notice the difference, if any. Okay. Now, for those of you that follow me and do a lot of these classes, all this stuff is generic. I do it in a lot of my other programs too, but I'll make it a little bit special because we're going to do something a little bit more specific for this community. So we have churn the butter forward, but we also have churn the butter sideways, right? So I'm going to keep my body forward and square. I'm going to lift up my leg just a bit. Notice I don't lean to counter, right? I still want to stay upright. And then same thing, in, up, out, down. And then a reverse, out, up, in, down. Good. Wow, Jean, good balance, good mobility. Ashley, look at the focus. Look at the poise. Not bad. Jennifer, not so much forward. Yeah, more to the side, right? I'll show you again, right? If the movement's coming forward, that's our first range. Now we want to go out to the side. Okay. Good, good. And then a little bit slower too. Laura, that looks good. Helps to smile though, Laura. Smile for me. There you go. You can also try it frowning. But yeah, see how that goes for you. Okay, good. Eileen, you're really good at this one. Okay, good. Greg, camera still off, probably for the best. Okay. Then do your other leg. Okay. Out to the side. In, up, out, down. It's very common to want to lean for compensation for balance, right? But I urge you, stay upright and really try and get this movement out to your lateral aspect. As you guys continue to work it out, I'll tell you why it's important. Most of our movement is on this linear plane, right? I walk on this linear plane, I sit on this linear plane, I ride my bike on this linear plane, right? Most all hip movement is front to back. But this side to side is one that we often lose as we age because we don't use it as much. Okay? So really work that sideline. It's very, very important. Okay, so we've done the front, we've done the side, one more still, behind you. Okay. This too, try not to bend too far forward for compensation. Try to stay upright and tall. And maybe if I turn backwards, you can see. Turn the leg in, up, out, back. Yeah, good. Satoko, excellent word. Ashley, excellent word. Mitzi looking good. Jennifer looking good. Greg still has his camera off. I'm just going to pick on you this whole class, even though your camera's off. I'm still pick on you. Great. Eileen looking good. Laura, keep your balance. Maybe make the movement a little bit smaller. Jean, very impressive. Jean, were you the one that asked about knees earlier that I snapped on? Hey, good. For the leg that's not moving, keep your knee soft, just for you. Good. Anna can't really see what you're doing. Satoko can't really see. That's fine. Okay. And then make sure you're doing both legs. Good. Jennifer, it looks like you have either a dance or a yoga practice. Looks like you have some body intelligence. So try to do that a little bit slower, right? So you have a good quality of range. There you go. There you go. Much better. Okay. When you do left foot and right foot, it's very common for one leg to be a little harder or easier, right? So pay attention to those subtle differences. And oddly enough, for your right leg, it might be easy forward, but it might be hard going back or to the side, right? And so pay attention to these differences because balance is going to be impacted relative to the angle of your leg. Beautiful. That officially brings us to our second hour. We've explored the principle of this work, good circulation, good health. We've explored the structure and system of this work, of how we're modeling our body and the progression of movements, same as we would a tree. Roots, trunk, branch, stem, and leaf. Waist, hip, knee, ankle, toe. We've done each joint. We've explored several ranges of motion. We've moved it. We've massaged it. There's a soft and a hard massage. Soft being the polishing to generate friction and heat, right? And the hard being the padding to disperse the heat and to bring about blood and circulation, right? You pat until it's red, polish until it's warm. And in that way, we have our qualifiers: mobility, color, and temperature, all sorted by the work. In that way, we nourish and water joint by joint, and we go through the whole tree: waist, hip, knee, ankle, toe, root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. We isolated each part, and then we integrated each part. So in that regard, consider your lower body is complete. Okay. From here, I'm going to give you another short break. Hydrate, use the bathroom. I'm still going to be here in case you have questions, but we're going to start again in 2 minutes, and we're going to do the upper body: neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger. How you doing? Laura, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Not as good as you, my goodness. Look, that's the good coconut water.
Oh yeah, Costco's finest. I try to get whatever it is that's organic and natural as possible.
I have to say that specific variety of coconut water is hands down by far the best coconut water I've ever had. That Harmless Harvest one.
It's really good. Yes, I agree.
They have a specific, they have a contract with Thailand. Thailand has a specific variety of coconut that's their national treasure. And Harmless Harvest is the only company that gets those coconuts. So that's the absolute best brand. None of the other ones, Zico and coconut, they all suck. Yeah, Harmless Harvest is the best.
Yeah, it's very, very nourishing, hydrating, refreshing.
And no, I'm not sponsored by them. I just like them.
I'm aware. You just like it. I didn't know it was from Thailand. I just knew it was organic and fair trade. And I was like, okay, I'll get this one.
Yeah, it's yummy. Ashley, I want to check in with you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry I joined late. I had the time wrong on my calendar. I do have one. Yeah, I do have one question. How do you feel about using like arnica or CBD or something topical on these areas before we work them, if we have like inflammation or anything like that?
Yeah, to your discretion. Okay. The reason why I would say no to them is because not everyone has arnica or CBD or products. And then the other thing is too, in the event that you don't have them, maybe you run out, right? Maybe you run out of your creams. Oh no, I can't do my work, right? So the idea is, I want to empower you as you are, yeah? Nothing else extra. Everything that you need to heal and grow is inherent within you. And so my goal with this work is to empower you as you are. You need nothing extra. Now, that said, if you choose to use the extra, then of course that's on your own discretion. But know that you have everything you need to heal inherently within you. And that's kind of the goal of this work, right? That's why we test temperature, color, and range, because you don't need a white lab coat, you don't need a doctor, you don't need anyone else to test for you. You can test your own color, you can test your own temperature, you can test your own range. And so the goal of this work is to empower you as you. You need nothing extra to heal, grow, and transform. Did that answer your question, Ashley?
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay if I?
Yeah, go ahead.
If I have another question?
Yeah.
So like, say I sprained my ankle, would it be okay to do these poses with my ankle in that moment, or would you work on the other? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're working specifically through an injury, like it's fresh and acute, maybe you could move other parts, right? And so your ankle, for example, right? If your ankle has limited mobility, you go below the ankle to the toes. You go above the ankle to the knee. You go opposite the ankle on the other ankle. And you do ultra opposite the ankle to your wrist, right? And so you do above, below, across, and opposite in the event that you can't move your ankle. However, by and large, unless it's like bound or, in a cast or wrapped up somehow, still explore what's available. Just dial it down. If you remember our qualifiers, I don't know if you caught it. Slow, small, soft, smooth. And in that regard, it will stay safe. Just go slow, go soft, go small, and go smooth. And that way you stay safe. Okay? Does that answer your question, Ashley?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. While I have you guys, we can take a short question answer break. Anybody have some comments, concerns, breakdowns, breakthroughs with anything that we've done thus far with our waist, hip, knee, ankle, and toe? I love the enthusiasm, guys, just radiating off of my computer screen. Contain yourselves. It's a big party. Oh, Gene, especially. My goodness, jazz hands. Wow. Okay.
No, it's just a lot of time on Zoom, that's all.
Yeah, for real. All of us. Well, thank you. Before we finish out this last hour, I want to appreciate you guys for sticking with me. I'm a spicy teacher. I make fun of people. I'm sharp. And it's all an expression of my love. There's a saying in Chinese, Ma Si Qing Dai Si Ai. I yell at you because I love you. I hit you because I care. This is the tradition that I was raised under. So if I'm spicy, if I'm sharp, this is what you paid for. All right. Yeah, Anna, you like that joke. Okay, good. So it's all in good fun, all in good humor. Okay, so we've done our waist, we've done our hips, we've done our knees, ankles, and toes. Our lower body is now complete. Now, 3 to 5 times each joint. Hey, that's all it takes to move the blood, to move the lymph, to move the lactic acid. It doesn't take much to move the fluids, right? But we want to generate a habit. We want to generate a pattern over time. So yeah, 3 to 5 times, it's good for your session, but think 300 to 500 times, 3,000 to 5,000 times over the course of a week, over the course of a month. And then if you continue with this practice, consider it a gestation period is about 9 months, right? If you were to do this practice every day, consistently, diligently, right? Soft, small, smooth, and even. A little bit of movement, a little bit of massage, a little bit of meditation. It's not much. But if you do this consistently, give yourself 9 months, and you might be surprised with how your body transforms, evolves, and grows. Right? Just a little bit of movement, a little bit of massage, a little bit of meditation. Or you can do a lot of bit of movement, a lot of bit of massage, a lot of bit of meditation. No one's going to the hospital from an overdose. Okay, I have yet to meet a person who's overdosed from movement, massage, or meditation. You guys are safe. You're likely going to underdose this stuff. Just know that it doesn't take much. Okay. All right, so we've done waist, hip, knee, ankle, toe. For our upper body, we're going to do neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and finger. Okay, we can go ahead and get straight to it. For the neck, we have 3 basic ranges of motion. Yes, no, I don't know, right? General, simple, easy, accessible ranges of motion, almost generic, right? So if it's easy to do, keep it easy by practicing. If it's hard to do, take your time, do it slow, small, soft, and in time, it will become easy again, okay? So the first one is up, down. Really simple range of motion. Consider that it's simple. So simple, you're probably taking it for granted. So simple, you're probably not even doing it. Hint, hint, Jennifer. Right? But my teacher said this one movement, you do 100 times a day, you live to 100 years old. It might seem silly, but as I go up and down, I'm massaging my thyroid. That regulates my metabolism. I'm pumping my lymph. That supports immune function. I'm pumping my carotid artery and my jugular vein. That nourishes my brain. I'm pumping my cerebral spinal fluid. That keeps my spinal cord and my brain lubricated, right? I'm threading my vagus nerve. That's going to help access my parasympathetic nervous system. So sure, I'm just saying yes, and sure, this is just silly. But if you look beyond the up-down movement of the head, you'll notice that it's actually a pump. And in the conversation of good circulation, good health, you're pumping a lot of fluids that are vital to your health and wellness, right? So take your time to say yes, up and down. After center line yes, I can also turn my head about 10 degrees and I can say yes to my neighbor. And I can turn over here and I can say yes to this neighbor. Now I'm focusing on lymph, carotid, jugular, vagus, thyroid, parathyroid, right? Now I really get to isolate one side over another. For those of us that have sore throat, maybe one lymph is really swollen, maybe the other not so much, right? These asymmetries are common. So you can do center line and you can also do side line. Okay? This is the yes range. The next common range of motion is the no. Right? After all those affirmations, it's nice to build some boundaries. So now we say no from side to side. This too, generic range of motion. You probably don't think about it until you can't do it, right? Maybe some of us have woke up in the morning with a stiff neck, then you realize how valuable this range of motion is. So as you do it, take your time to go slow and notice if one side is more open than the other. Maybe a small difference, maybe a big difference, right? But see if you have access challenges on one side or the other, right? For extra credit, you can even turn your eyes, right? Stretch out your optic nerve. So turn one way and try to look behind you. Stretch out your eyes too. In our Chinese medicinal view, this is related to your liver and your gallbladder, right? So stretch your eyes as well. For extra credit in this, because again, it's quite generic, we can up it a level by introducing a movement called Fair Maiden Plays the Flute. I'm going to turn my head one way. I'm going to push my hands the other way. In that way, I might get a really nice stretch along the long aspect of my inside arm. right? And I can do that both sides. One side might feel better or worse than the other, so please take your time. And we're looking for a stretch from the palm through the arm, through the chest, through the neck, all the way up through the head. And you might get a good stretch. Satoko, feel it? Feel nice? Look to the side more, okay? Look one way more, push. Yeah, like that. There you go, there you go, there you go. Ashley looking good. Anna, I can actually see this one good. Eileen, you love this one. This is your favorite. Laura, wow, doing it from a seated meditation posture. Excellent. Okay. One more slight variation of this. Right now, it's really popular in your PT world. They have a technique called nerve threading or nerve flossing, right? We too have an expression of this. We call it pulsing. So I'm going to turn one way, I'm going to push the other way. That's going to engage my stretch. But what I'll do is I'll relax my arm and I'll relax my head so as to make a slack on the line. And then I return into the stretch, relax and stretch, relax and stretch. Slack, taut, slack, taut. I just basically do repetitions of the same side. But with each repetition, you may feel that it becomes a little more fluent, a little more deep, a little more full. And so with each pulse, see if you can generate just a slightly deeper and deeper stretch with each pass. This is what's commonly called nerve threading or nerve flossing in our common era PT world. I say that to say this, nothing new under the sun. Our ancestors do it too. We just didn't call it that fancy word. Okay. So we have yes, we have no, we have extra credit, talk to the hand. Next is the I don't know. So for I don't know, I'm gonna go ear down to shoulder. And I'm gonna actively stretch the side of my neck, specifically through my sternocleidomastoid. Really try and get that stretch along the side of my neck. And I can do this on both sides. Now, this one is especially effective at threading your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve is one of the longest nerves of the body that connects your brain to your heart, respiratory, to your digestion, gut, right? And beyond. And so this is a nerve that's commonly related to your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest. And so as you do this stretch, go slow. And you may find that it's very sedating, it's very calming, it's very soothing and relaxing. So for those of you that have insomnia, those of you that have anxiety or prone to panic attacks, this is a gentle stretch that you can do to help negate those symptoms, right? With slow, mindful breath and a slow, mindful stretch, you can really have big breakthroughs in your psycho-emotional state with this specific movement. Now, I like to give extra credit. So when one ear goes down to my shoulder, try pay attention just for a short moment because the extra credit is very subtle. One ear goes down, but my other ear goes up. Right? Maybe you see that extra range where I kind of lift my ear up and I drop my shoulder down. And then I relax back to neutral. I'll repeat it on the other side so you can see, again, it's very, very subtle. One ear goes down, but the other ear goes up, right? It's a small movement, but it should give you a nice extra credit stretch. Wow, Ashley ready to go to sleep. Ooh, I love it. Good. Anna looking good, Eileen looking good, Mitzi looking good, Laura looking good. Jennifer, you taking notes? That's so cool. Bruce, oh, falling asleep. I love it. Greg still has his camera off. I'm just going to keep making fun of you, Greg. Wonderful. So those are our 3 generic ranges of motion. This is a special community, so I'm going to show you a few extra ranges, advanced if you will. The first range, I'll turn sideways a little bit so you can see. We call it the chicken head. Now, instead of a yes movement, it's going to be a shearing movement, right? A front and back. So I'm going to jut my chin forward. I'm going to pull my chin back. Right? I'm currently in the Bay Area, San Mateo area. It's kind of Silicon Valley-ish. A very, very common condition out here is called tech neck or nerd neck, right? Or you're just in front of your computer all day, so your neck just forward like this, right? It's a very, very common condition. So push that chin forward, pull that chin back. If I turn sideways, you can really see the range. We call this chicken head, okay? It's like peck, peck, peck of the chicken, okay? After front and back, we have side to side. Now this is distinct. I'm not saying no, I'm shearing from side to side. It's a very distinct range of motion, right? So chicken head is front, back, and then side to side. We call this movement, ooh, It may help. That's a joke. I'm always curious to see who will follow it. Most of you, okay, good. But it just to kind of give you an idea of the quality of movement we're looking for. Okay, so we have 2. We have chicken head front and back. We have ooh, left and right. Now we put those 4 cardinal directions into a circle. So we have front and back. We have side to side. Now we have round and round. Okay, we call this girl. Good. Now, common mistakes. As this range is happening, it's common for the head to tilt. So if you catch your head tilting, you're doing it wrong. The other thing, it's also common for the head to turn. So if your nose is turning and you get a profile, you're doing it wrong. You want to see the face square, right? So even though I'm moving my neck and head, my eyes and my nose laser pointed forward. Right? Circle one way and reverse. You probably got some grindy, crackly, snackly, poppy, yeah, grit, like pepper grinder type stuff. Yeah. Wow, Satoko, you got a little attitude. You're good. Don't nobody mess with Satoko. Okay, good. All right, wonderful. After we move it, we massage it. So with your 4 fancy fingers, polish. Okay, I'm going to focus a little bit more. You get all these wonderful points that are aligned below the ear, around the neck, around the base of the head, right? You get a lot of powerful points here. So don't be shy. Really polish all these areas. It's nice to make it kind of Dr. Spock. You can get around the ear too. And you want to polish below the ear, along the side of your neck, right? Through these kind of erector muscles that hold your head up, right? You want to polish all that. You want to get below the skull, along your occipital ridge, what we call the jade pillow in Taoism, right? So you want to polish all these areas, and you want to get all the way down to the base of your neck. It might help to even reach across, right? Now you can be very, very thorough. If you're having a hard time massaging your own neck, that's okay. Massage your neighbor's neck or your loved one's neck, and you just might get them to return the favor. Okay? So rub, 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 polish, polish, polish. You can also get the front, right? Again, in the front, I'll move my beard out of the way. You have your thyroid, you have your parathyroid, you have your windpipe, your esophagus, right? So really critical part, just a little bit more delicate and tender, right? But this still, we want to polish until it gets warm. Consider that heat, right? Things expand in heat. Tissues expand, cells expand, the vascular veins and capillaries expand. Everything's expanding, right? So you make it warm, 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 so all those tissues can open up. And then you pat, 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 pat. And if you pat long enough, it gets red. It brings blood to the surface. So you warm it up so that all the tissues can expand. Then you pat, pat, pat to bring in the blood into that new space that you've created. Okay, there's a science to this. Okay, so all those wonderful areas that we pat below the ear, along the base of the head, along the base of the neck. You can pat the front, just be careful. And notice you get color. It turns red. It gets warm. And wouldn't you know, those were our qualifiers: mobility, color, and temperature. Safe to say, blood is now here. After we've done our neck with movement and massage, we take a moment to meditate. Feel for any sensation left over. If you feel nothing, that's fine. But at the very least, feel the air on your skin. Right? Feel your shirt on your back. Become aware of your body. Feel your neck. Don't wait until your neck hurts to pay attention to your neck. Okay, so we've done our neck. Now we move on to the shoulder. Okay, shoulder ranges of motion. There's easy and generic ones. We have up, down, front, back, round, and round. Right, we can alternate. Right, these are all simple, generic ranges of motion. If you join me in any of my other classes, those are probably the ones we'll do because most people can do them. Right? Specific for this class, we're going to do what's called 6 circles of the shoulder. Okay. So first circle of the shoulder, I'm going to use my right hand. Right. It's not a Hail Hitler. I just want to keep my right hand out forward, and I want to keep my shoulder chambered. From here, I'm going to make a small circle. Notice it's no higher than my eyebrow, no lower than my chest, right? It's a moderate circle. 3 to 5 times is all I'm looking for. Circle one way, and then reverse, circle back. That's forward. Next, I want to go up. I want to mind my vertical. I want to have my arm in line with my ear to really make sure that it's straight up and down. I want to keep my shoulder packed. Right, keeping my neck long. And then here too, I want to make a circle. Careful that the circle is not coming from your elbow. Mindful that it's authentic to your shoulder. Circle one way and circle back the way you can. Our next circle is below. I'm going to hang and let my arm hang. I may even feel gravity open up in my shoulder socket. And I'm going to circle my arm down. Right, circle one way and reverse. For those of you that are familiar with frozen shoulder protocols, this is the #1 exercise recommended by PTs and doctors for frozen shoulder. Just let the arm hang and circle. You're nourishing the joint capsule. You're introducing synovial fluid to the joint. Right, you're moving through all the GRU and the lactic acid. Right, it's a wonderful movement for your shoulder, any type of shoulder pain. Okay, so we have front, we have top, we have bottom. Next will be side. Okay, this is the biggest circle. You can go quite big on your sideways circle, but really try your best to do the full side. Right, a little bit above your head, a little bit below your hip. Full range, 3 to 5. And then 3 to 5. Yeah. If you're following along, I'm doing all of this on my right shoulder. I'm taking the time to explore the full range available. I've done forward, I've done top, I've done bottom, I've done side. We have 2 more ranges. Range number 5 is across my body. Right? So the first one was forward. Now I actually reach across. And I want to keep my shoulder down. This too is a small circle. And again, Make sure it doesn't come from your elbow. Make sure it's authentic from your shoulder. Okay, circle one way and then reverse, circle back. Our final circle is behind us. You turn your body ever so slightly, but keep your orientation forward. And it's almost like you're going to write on a chalkboard behind you, right? And so I want to make that circle again from my shoulder. 3 to 5 times one way, and then a reverse, 3 to 5 times back. I did all of this with my right shoulder. By the time I'm done, there should be a distinct feeling from one side that's moved and the other side that isn't. Right? Take the time to notice those feelings. Okay? So we have front, top, bottom, side, across, and back. These are the 6 directions available to your shoulder. If we were to break all those 6 directions into one full direction, right, then we have the side, we have the top, we have the back, we have the other side, we have the bottom, right? So we're basically just taking this full range that's available and breaking it down into various aspects, right? Because some of us have better mobility in some parts than others. After all that movement, a little bit of massage. Polish, hit the front, hit the top. You can support your elbow, you can get the back, you get the outside, you get the underside. You get all around your shoulder girdle, right? Movement and massage for the shoulder also benefits the lung, also benefits the heart, also benefits the lymph. If I'm on my right side, it benefits my liver. If I'm on my left side, it benefits my spleen, right? So much benefit from having a mobile shoulder. Okay, after I polish all these areas and it's warm, I now pat all of these areas. Pat out the front along my pec. This is good for my lungs too. Pat out the top, pat out the back. This is a very common place for neck and shoulder tension. Imagine Santa Claus that has to carry all those toys here. He probably has really stiff shoulders. If you have the world on your back too, you probably have stiff shoulders. So pat, pat, pat. Pat the outside, pat the underside. I can speak for my wife, right? Very first thing she does after a long day of work, she rips that bra off. So for ladies that wear bras all day, you likely have stagnation through the ribs, right? So pat, 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 and move all the fluids of this region. Okay. When you're all done, take a moment to rest. Notice the difference between a side that's been moved and massaged and a side that has not. One side feels a benefit, the other side feels jealous. Take the time to observe the difference. This would be considered your meditation aspect. Okay. So we've done one side very thorough. Let's do the other side, make it match. Now that we've kind of already done it, we can breeze through it, right? First circle's right in front, not too big, not too small. Right, circle one way, circle the other way. Next circle is up top. Really mind your vertical, really lock out the arm and isolate your shoulder. So you're circling up and reverse. Next one, angle down, maybe lean forward a little bit, let your arm hang, really feel gravity, open the space in your shoulder socket, and circle this a few times one way, and a few times back. Good. So we have front, top, and bottom. Next is outside. This circle's quite big, a little bit higher than your head, a little bit below your hip, right? A little bit back, a little bit forward. See how well you can make that circle. And then reverse. If you're sassy, you can snap every time too. Okay, lots of options to make this fun. Right, so we have front, top, bottom, side. Now you can do a cross. So cross your arm over your chest, Lock your arm. Make sure this is a small circle that comes from your shoulder, not your elbow. Right? And reverse. 3 to 5 times is all you need. Our final circle is behind us. Reach back, but still frame forward. Right? 3 to 5 circles here, and then reverse. 3 to 5 circles there. Good. In the event that there's a challenge at any one of these quadrants, actually, would it be a hextant, right? Because a quadrant is 4. Anyway, at any one of these aspects, if there's challenges, break that down to another 6, right? So say I have trouble here, right in the front, we'll break this down even further. I have an up top, a middle, a side, I have a bottom, a middle, and a side. So even my one circle here, I can break this down further into another 6 circles. And in that way, relative to my shoulder condition, I can break through boundaries and I can build range and build efficient movement. You guys get that stuff? Look at Jean polishing. Ooh, healthy shoulders. Healthy shoulders, really important because it's one of the more mobile joints of the body, but it's also not very stable, right? And so shoulder is also a very, very common place for injury. Jennifer, good work getting it in. After you move them, you can massage them. Remember, it's a polish until it's warm. Get your front, you get your top, you get your back, get the outside, you get the underside. Very common joke in our community, I always say it, is that you can also use soap. Right? You can also use soap when you go under your arm. Okay, and then after you polish it, you pat. My goodness, we only have a half hour left. Class is just flying by. Okay, so we've done our neck, we've done our shoulders. Next, it's time for the elbows. Okay. Elbows, really easy, right? Your elbow, much like your knee, it's a hinge joint, so it just opens and closes. Okay. There's a way to bring power to your experience. Many of you might be familiar with mantra. You might be familiar with mantra, power words and phrases and tones, right? Mantra. There's a 2-syllable mantra that goes with this. I see some of you taking notes. You can go ahead and write it down. The 2-syllable mantra for this, Eileen already knows, she's smiling. Hi, ya. Hi, ya. Say it fast. Hi, ya. It's a really bad joke. Hi, ya. That's your power mantra for your elbow. Tomahawk chop. Okay, jokes aside, for your elbow, we have a flex and extend, right? Consider that this movement is pumping, right? As I stretch, as I close, I'm pumping blood, I'm pumping lymph, I'm pumping synovial, I'm pumping lactic acid. This is a pump, right? So from here, I wanna do a circular pump. We call this waving the flag. Wave the flag one way, wave the flag back. I'm gonna go below, stir the pot one way, stir the pot back. And then we wanna figure 8. So wave the flag, stir the pot. One above, one below. I know our Polynesian ancestors, they play with those poi balls and those fire bowls, right? So very similar type of movement. We do a figure 8, one above, one below. But we can also reverse and go the other way that we came. The fun part is when we start to alternate and split, one above, one below. Right, try not to, foot loose, right? Keep your spine aligned, right? See how well you can isolate just your elbow. Okay, your shoulder's gonna move a little bit too, that's fine, but really try and get a good quality here in your elbow. Okay, so we have one up, one down, and then this too can reverse. Wonderful. Okay, one more for our elbow. It's not necessary, but I'm going to use this stick here to help illustrate. I'm going to hold on to my stick. Again, not necessary. You can also just kind of hold on to your thumb, right? But what we want to see here is that my fist stays forward, okay? And I can have my elbows out and pull in, but my fist still stays forward, right? This is elbow out. I can do the same thing by going elbow down, right? My fist doesn't need to move, right? I can go out, I can go in, right? And my fist stays the same, okay? So again, if you don't have a stick, that's fine. You can hold on to your thumb, right? But now we want to add a range to it. So out, in, out, in. It's almost like Outrigger Canoe Club now, right? Row, row, okay? But I'm keeping my fist the same relative to my movement. If I can go out, down, forward, out, down, forward, maybe I can reverse that. Down, out, forward. Good. And then if I'm clever, maybe I can mix them up. Now we're doing the Cabbage Patch, right? Hey, good. Ashley, you know how to do the Cabbage Patch. Good, good, good. So it starts as movements for the joints, but then it becomes movement for your brain, right? This is great for coordination. Coordination outside translates to coordination inside. If it looks clunky and funky outside, it's probably just as funky inside. And so this is important as we age. Senility, Alzheimer's, dementia, these are degeneration of the brain. And so we want to keep the brain active. We want to keep the brain fresh by integrating these coordination drills, because coordination outside reflects the quality of your coordination inside. You think it's hard now? Wait 10 years. It will likely get harder. Okay, so take the time to develop this skill. All right, after we move our elbow, we massage our elbow. So rub, 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 rub. If you do both at the same time, that's fine. I'm gonna do a little bit above, a little bit below. This is my radial aspect along the outside. I have my ulnar aspect along my inside, right? Or if we use Chinese medicine terms, my lung, large intestine meridian, my heart, small intestine meridian, my pericardium meridian along the inside, and my triple warmer meridian along the backside. Okay? Ultimately, I want to get my entire elbow warm above and below. Okay. From here, go ahead and pat. This is going to be great for those of you that have tendonitis, tennis elbow. This is going to be great for those of you that have carpal tunnel, arthritis, rheumatism, or the like. Believe it or not, beating your elbow down below, it's going to be great for any kind of neck or shoulder tension too, right? Because if I promote blood flow to my elbow, it has to pass through my shoulder, right? So it's kind of the same principle. Ashley, you were asking about your ankle. If you can't move your ankle, that's okay, move your toes, right? Because if you move your toes, blood goes to your toes and it passes through your ankle, right? So for those of you who have neck or shoulder pain, massaging your elbow benefits because it promotes circulation through the region that you have pain. Okay, so pat all the way around and pat, pat, pat hard because you can really see the red, right? And you can see one side red, one side white, right? So where's the blood? Where's the blood not? Right? This is your indicator. Make sure you do both sides so they're nice and even. Again, carpal tunnel, good medicine. Tendonitis, rheumatism, arthritis, neuropathy, coldness in the hands, numbing, tingling. These are all conditions that can be addressed with a simple movement and massage. We've done our neck, we've done our shoulder, we just completed our elbow. We've now made way to the wrist, okay? Root, trunk, branch, stem. For the wrist, really easy. We have go away. We have come to me. We have chop, chop, chop. We have no, no, no. We have spicy, spicy, spicy. We have crazy, crazy, crazy. Simple ranges of motion, right? Go away, this is kind of a flex and extend. Right? Come to me, again, that flex and extend. Yeah, chop, 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 no, 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 spicy, spicy. This is that lateral range of the wrist. Right? And then crazy, this is just kind of a loose wrist, okay? Simple ranges of motion. A little bit more advanced, we have time for it. We can try a supination, right? Supinate is to scoop, right? So I can kind of further that range by turning my palm out. This is a nice stretch for my wrist, right? Supinate, scoop, right? So I can further that scoop and support my hand, right? To give myself a stretch. I can do this with both sides, right? Supinate, a scoop. So I continue that range and I twist my forearm. Okay. I also have a pronate, right? Turning out, right? Like blocking the sun from my eyes. Right? Pronation is to turn outward. This too, I can help to twist, right? I can twist further and help to pronate. This can happen on both sides. Right? So I have a supination, twist in. I have a pronation, twist out. Next, I have a traction. I can pull, right? I can pull on my wrist, and you may even be able to see that there's a space that opens, right? This is a pronation, or excuse me, traction is what I want to say, traction, right? And this happens on both sides, right? And then from here, I have flex and extend. I can flex by folding my forearm down. Right, this happens on both sides. And I can extend by pulling the fingers back. And then so that too, that explores all the ranges available to my wrist. Okay? So for those of you with carpal tunnel, arthritis, rheumatism, right? And if any of these are hard or challenging, take the time to do them slow, do them small, do them soft, do them smooth. Because if you think they're hard now, wait 10 years, likely be harder. Okay? So that's it for our wrist. Okay, moving on to fingers. Yeah, root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. Okay, for fingers, really easy. Try your best to isolate one finger at a time. Notice that no other finger moves. Ooh, Jean. Ooh, there you go. Good. Yeah, Satoko. Yeah, Ashley, smiling. I know it's hard. Some of your hands look like ginger roots, right? So try to isolate just the one. Okay. If you can do it, try to make it a game. Okay. Thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky. Thumb, pointer, middle, ring, pinky. If you can go out, try to go in. Pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Try to go one side to the other. Try to go the other side, back. If it's easy for you, good. Keep it easy with daily diligent practice. If it's hard for you, that must suck. Take your time and go slow. A little bit of movement, a little bit of massage, and you'll be text messaging and playing video games with the best of them. Okay? So, a little bit more advanced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 2 and 4. Close them. Leave 1, 3, 5 open. And then switch it. 1, 3, 5 closed, 2 and 4 stay open. And then switch. Laura, does that face help? Smile, girl.
It doesn't want to do it. It's just the finger won't go, and the face is like helping them. This one is really difficult on this side.
Interesting. So more difficult on one hand than the other.
Yeah, like I can't even separate these two.
Yeah. And that's the hand where you have the stuff. It's as if it's connected or something. Go figure. Okay, good. Oh, Gene, look at that. Look at that concentration. The poise, the focus. Good. Now this one's easy. Many of you do this already on the highway, okay? Don't lie. Right? It's the other one that's hard. Not bad. Jennifer, looks like you're at a rock concert. Good, good, good. Okay, it's not easy. I couldn't do it at first, but I was a monk for 5 years. I lived in a temple in China on top of a mountain. So we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have YouTube or internet. We did, but you know, it was spotty. So what do? Play with your fingers. Good. Okay. If those are hard, I have some easier ones. Everything's okay. I got a water gun. Okay. Switch. Laura, you've been my student long enough to know this stuff. Come on. Okay. All right, all right. Look at Eileen. Look at Eileen's been my student for 3.5 years. Look at it. Look at this. I'm gonna replace my go. Go, go, go. See, she's happy, she's smiling. Look at this. Look at this. That's what practice does for you. Okay. She was not this happy when she first learned this, I guarantee. Thank you, Eileen. You're off the hook. Good. Let me make sure I have a gallery. Okay, good. I can see everybody. All right. So this is our first one. Next one, in about 3 more months, I plan to move to Hawaii. Okay. God willing, might be more like 6 months. Right. Story remains. Yeah, 3 Hawaii, right? 3 hang loose. Yeah, 3 shaka, right? And then switch. Now Ashley's making faces too. Jennifer, 3 this way. Yeah, so get the logic here, okay? So this is Tai Chi, believe it or not. The first one that we did was 2 fingers closed, 3 fingers open. Soft side forward. But then your other hand is 2 fingers open, 3 fingers closed, hard side open, right? So get that these are opposite. And then you're alternating between opposites. Harmony between opposites, if you will. Tai Chi, yin yang, okay? So then same thing here. My shaka, my hang loose, 2 open, 3 closed. So then I have 3 open, 2 closed. I also have my soft side forward. Now I have my hard side forward, right? And then this too. Harmony of yin and yang, Tai Chi practice. There you go. And now you give up. If you think it's hard now, wait 10 years. It's only gonna get harder. Yeah. Okay. Now, too many fingers. Okay, I get it. Too many fingers. So 1 thumb, 1 pointer. 1 thumb, 1 pointer. Switch it. See, Greg, this is a good time to have your camera off, Greg, because we'd be making fun of you. Dave, Bruce Leonard, can you do it? Come on, 1 thumb, 1 pointer. Ah, too many fingers. Yeah, Eileen, look at you. Oh, Greg logged off. I scared him away. I'm such an asshole. I'm such an asshole, teachers. Give Greg a refund. Yeah, I scared him away. All right, one more, okay, last one. Again, too many fingers, so we'll make it easy. 1 thumb, 1 pinky. Yeah, Satoko. Good, very well done. Yeah, Laura, you got that one. Eileen, that one's still fresh. Come on, come on, come on. Not bad, guys, not bad. Okay, go ahead and shake out your fingers, stay loose and light. Root to trunk to branch to stem to leaf. Each of these movements, right? It's said in Chinese, the blood follows the chi follows the intention. Yi, qi, xue. So where you put your intention is where your blood goes, right? So you make all this thoughtful movement with your fingers. Where's the blood gonna go? To your fingers. How does blood get to your fingers? Not by Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. No, it comes through your neck, your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist. Root, trunk, branch, stem, leaf. So all these finger games are a great way to get blood to your extremities, okay? You get the extra added benefit of coordination outside, which will reflect coordination inside, okay? So we've done the whole tree, root, trunk, branch, stem, and leaf. We've done bit by bit. However, the tree is whole. The tree is integrated. And so we're going to connect all those aspects. 1 hand on the chest, 1 arm long, trace down the inside of your arm, trace up the outside of your arm. From the neck and chest down through the fingers, from the fingers up over the shoulder, back to your neck. And in this way, you can repeat and take laps down yin to Mother Earth, up yang to Father Time, down the soft feminine, up the hard masculine, right? Heaven and earth on 1 limb. Trace all the way through the fingers, trace all the way over the shoulder. 1 long massage. Along this path, I can also pat all the way down through my fingers. I can pat all the way up over my shoulder. Right? All the way down along this inside, all the way up along this outside. When I'm done, before I do the other side, take a moment to feel my arm. After all that movement, after that massage, it might feel nice. And for those of you that are used to having pain, it might feel better than Advil, Tylenol. Let's make it match. Other hand, other arm, tracing down the soft, up the hard, down the soft, up the hard. Trace that path, take laps, be thorough. Again, you want to polish until you feel it get warm. You want to generate friction, generate heat, right? Because heat will help the tissue expand. After the tissue has expanded, you pat. All the patting and tapping will bring blood to the surface, will clear congestion. So you pat all the way down to the tips, you pat all the way over the shoulder, right? If you want to give blood, if you want to do heroin, you pat, 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 it'll help you find the vein. If you want to clear congestion, you pat, 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 or you pat your friend on the back, and it helps clear out what's stuck. But if it works on your chest, it works on your elbow, why won't it work on your whole body, right? So you get your whole arm warm, you get your whole arm red, and you take the time to feel. Move it, massage it, meditate. For this last aspect of meditation, I encourage you to be absolutely still. Try not to move at all. Movement is for a healthy body. Stillness is for a healthy spirit. Many of us care about the quality of our movement. Few of us care about the quality of our stillness. If you have a hard time being still, if you got to shift your weight or scratch, consider it demonstrates that you are uncomfortable in your body. Don't forget, this stuff isn't for health. Wudang Mountain is not a hospital. It's not a clinic. It's not a spa. Wudang Mountain is a temple. Wudang Mountain is a pilgrimage, a spiritual pilgrimage destination. Ultimately, sure, this is good for your health. Sure, you could use this for self-defense. But ultimately, this is for self-discovery. This is for your spirit. So take the time to be absolutely still. Demonstrate that you are comfortable in your own skin. It might come handy one day. That's class. We've done upper body, we've done lower body, we move, massage, we meditate. You learned how to check your circulation. You learned how to improve your circulation. After doing all of that work, check your temperature again. Maybe those hot, cold patches are different now. Check your fingers again. Maybe those slow, sluggish fingers have picked up a little bit. Check your range again. Maybe areas where you were tight and stiff are now loose and mobile. If you take notes and jot your progress, over time, may you have big, fruitful transformations. So that's my content. I'm still here for the next little bit. For those of you that have questions and comments, we started about 15 minutes late. And so I'm happy to give you a 15 minutes on the tail end to get your full 3 hours.
David, that was awesome. That was really awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, David. If anyone has specific questions for me. Yeah. Thanks, this is just wonderful. I'm eager to keep practicing and learning. Oh, great. Thank you, Jane.
The second part, the continuation, are you going to give a second part, Second, are you going to give a second part, like this is the beginning, right? For beginners or introduction. Are you going to tell us more?
Sure. Yeah, so each of the joints, what I've shared with you guys are the basic and intermediate ranges of motion. Each joint has more ranges of motion. And so we do have advanced curriculum where the mobility becomes a little bit more involved and a little bit more challenging. So yeah, Big Brother David, if you want to host me again, I'm happy to share more.
That would be wonderful.
I think we could probably manage to do that. David, how can people get in touch with you?
Don't. Leave me alone.
Okay. You can contact me, earthmedicine@protonmail.com.
Yeah, don't look for me. I'm in trouble. Actually, since we have Eileen here, she's a disciple of mine. She's been with me long enough. She knows all this material. Give Eileen's information. I'm just going to volunteer her.
So you can contact me. I will relay your messages to him under threat of death. So under a painful punishment by a Taoist master. So
Happy to help.
all right.
Any other questions? Like what kind of
thank
shampoo?
you, everyone. You folks have been marvelous, and I'm sure there's more to come. Sorry, what?
So this exercise Qigong is to nourish the good health, keep yourself in good health, right? Not necessarily to heal, you said. How about Yang Shen Gong? Sorry if I don't pronounce it. What is the difference? Or Yang Shen?
This is not Qigong. We're using Qigong as a generic term. But there's no such thing as Qigong. Qigong is a new age word that was introduced around 1950. And it doesn't speak to what we're doing, right? What we're doing is an actual, it's more Yang Sen, yeah? And Mitzi, what you said about this being for health, this is not for health. This is for self-discovery. Right? This is how we discovered ourselves. This is how we practice Taoism in the temple, right? It's not for health. It's for spirit. It just so happens to have the benefit of health. It just so happens to have the benefit of self-defense. Like earlier, I showed this movement of the elbows, right? This is a block. This is a strike, right? This is self-defense. This is martial art, right? This is also for health, right? We talked about how this moves all the fluids, right? But it's actually neither. It's not self-defense. It's not healing. It's spiritual. It's an opportunity for you to understand your body, your potential space, your surroundings, your inside in relation to your outside, your breath and how it relates to your ethereal breath and material body, how the upper body, heaven, relates to your lower body, earth, right? This is all an opportunity for self-discovery. This is all an opportunity to cultivate your spirit, right? And if you recall, I made that joke about the pharmaceutical. Oh, take this drug, and then you have all these side effects, right? So this is self-discovery. The side effect is self-defense. The side effect is health. But the big picture here is spiritual awakening. Right?
Thank you.
And then so with the conversation of Yang Sen, all of this stuff could be considered Yang Sen because Yang Sen literally translates to tending to the body, right? If I had a cat or a dog, I would say Yang Gou, Yang Mao, right? It means I care for my cat, I care for my dog. But Yang Sen, Yang means tend to. Seng, senti, the seng, it means my body. And so I'm not taking care of a cat or a dog. I'm taking care of my body. And so the next thought to that is it's less of a thing to do, more of a value, right? I value my body. And so I'm going to take measures to support the experience of my body. I value my dog. I value my cat. So I'm going to buy good food. I'm going to take them on walks. I'm going to keep up with their shots and their vet checks, right? Because I value my pet. So I'm going to do the steps necessary, right? So Yang Sen, it speaks less to what I do, because I can do things but hate it. I can do things but not understand. I can do things but I need motivation, right? So I can do things but maybe my values don't match, right? So Yang Sen, it really speaks to what I value. Because if I value health, then my actions towards health are natural. But if I don't value health, then my actions will be contrary. So Yang Sen, it's less of what we do, more of what we value.
Thank you.
Did I over-explain that?
Thank you. It was very good. Yeah. It's good to know yourself, know your body, you're empowered, you can, you know, do a lot of things. Because we grow in the society with the idea, like if something happens, we can take a pill, or if something, we always outside, always we have some, rely on some outside thing, not necessarily related, related to our health, anything basically. Oh, I have, but it's actually know yourself spiritually. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, beautiful message. Thank you.
Right on, Mitzi. And thank you for bringing up, those of us that may take a pill, right? Because earlier Ashley asked the question of should we use topicals, ointments, or creams, arnica, CBD, and the like, right? Again, all that stuff is outside of you. And so if you take anything away from this class, it's everything you need for you to be whole and complete is inherent within you. You don't need a pill, you don't need a cream, you don't need anything other than what you have already. And if you work with the principles, good circulation, good health, never work harder than 30%, enjoy yourself, move, massage, meditate. These are really clear, easy tools that everyone can access and everyone can derive benefit
from. David, do you lead any online classes besides this?
Yeah, I do. And I'm
Is there
way
a way
here.
to...
If you think I'm an asshole here, woo, my personal classes, woo, I'm spicy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yep.
However, there is a distinction between the lamp and the light. You may not like my personality, but my content is pretty damn good. So there's lamp, there's light, there's teacher, and there's teaching, right? I'm an asshole, can't help it. But the stuff that we share is pretty good and it's pretty functional. So I'd love to have you come along. Just know that I'm spicy and I might hurt your feelings. Yeah, just know what you're signing up for.
Shut up and embrace the apple.
Hello, you're so welcome, Satoko. If you're still in contact with Kumu Dane, please extend my best. I love that guy. Good, let's see. Oh, you guys are chatting away here. How do you spell Yang Shen? Yeah, thank you, Eileen, for handling that. Mahalo for the class, it was wonderful. Wonderful. Good, Anna, haven't heard much from you. You doing good?
I'm good. I actually didn't share this earlier. I'm a massage therapist and a yoga teacher. So what I learned today was very helpful for myself. And the one thing I do for everybody I work with is really it's about helping them bring awareness, their own awareness to their own body and how they're feeling. So this was really, really helpful to kind of just continue on that path. Really, it's empowering each person I work with to really know themselves. So this was really good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Cool. Yeah.
Even the spiciness.
Little extra benefit because now that I know your background, Clearly, this is a very functional supplement to yoga.
Mhm.
Yoga, by and large, the asanas tend to be linear.
Mhm.
Sometimes to bring in these circular patterns, these spiral patterns into the joint, wonderful complement,
Yep.
right? They go hand in hand together, right? So this kind of yoga and yang san, really, really good husbandry, yeah? They work well. With regards to you being a body worker too, right? This is all wonderful stuff to keep your own body, yeah? We spend all this time helping others. We need something to nourish ourselves too. And if I can bring my Halloween friend back, you know, all these ranges that we did on ourselves, right? Consider they can be applied too, right? So if I have my friend here and he's supine,
Mhm.
right? All the things that we did for the neck, yes, no, I don't know, right? I can say yes, no, I don't know, right? All those 6 directions for the shoulder, right? My client could be lying down and I can just take their arm and, you know, do those 6 directions for them, right? So every single move that we did today can be applied as well. So it's not just for my own movement and health and spiritual awareness, it's also for my friends' movement and health and spiritual awareness. And I know that if this stuff makes me feel good, if I do it for someone else, move, massage, let them meditate, I know that it makes them feel good as well. So not only is this for my own practice, but it's also for my applied practice as well.
Great. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Anna. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much. Would you hang on after folks get off? I just want to check in with you for a second.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's awesome. We have more classes coming up at the Earth Medicine Academy. You can find us online at earthmedicine.academy. So thank you.
Bye-bye.